Supervisors meeting to order, February the 3rd. We'll start by the pledge of
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Travis. You people, excuse me, from my back towards you. We'll start out, people in the audience. Jimmy McDonald, you got anything tonight?
Good.
Everything going good?
Didn't hear me bitch.
Good. Bonnie Walter.
Yes, on behalf of the election board down here, I'd like to thank everyone that's cleaned up the snow and stuff so that there wasn't a lot of stuff rubbed in and we had to clean that up. And for taking care of the water problem we had that day. And for those that come out in below zero temperatures and voted.
Did you have a good turnout?
We had about 10%.
Did you?
Yeah. All right. Storm, you too?
No, I haven't.
Anything? All right. Barbara Long.
Not at this meeting.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ray Neal.
No.
Boy, we're going down quick. Donna Litzenberger.
Until now. I asked about the school the last time. Munch and I and John, we would like to try and get stuff gathered up for fire victims because of our situation years ago. And right now, I'm looking for something, a temporary building or room, and I didn't know if we would be able to use the 2 rooms at the school that aren't being used. I mean, I don't need heat. I just need someplace temporary to put, as we get stuff, I mean, we're taking donations for stuff. So as we get stuff, I don't got the room to put like furniture and stuff. So I don't know if that would be a possible thing or not.
I don't know. Are we still set up as a shelter at the school?
You mean down to school, yeah.
We used to have
We
a
have
contract
generator.
for a generator.
We have a generator and everything.
We have a generator.
We'll have to read it. I think it's
Yeah,
due.
we'll have to, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's due.
We'll have to get generator in there.
Would that sort of fall in those guidelines? You're talking like if somebody has a fire, some things to help them out.
Right. I mean, we were thankful for what people had got us, but it was really overwhelming when you have
Yeah.
a room like this that had nothing but bags of clothes that you had to go through.
Yeah.
And it can be a little bit stressful. So we're trying to cut out the stress for people until I can get a building at our house. I need a temporary place in case we start getting, a lot of things. So I didn't know
Well, those rooms down there.
how, if it would be possible, if we would be allowed to use one of the rooms. I would need somebody.
I can't speak on behalf, because Vi's not here, and Carrie, what's your thoughts about this? I don't know.
What are you asking? Just to store something there? Is that what you're coming up with?
In the event of a fire, something to
Just
help
as a
somebody.
temporary, to store
For how
stuff.
long would this be?
How long are you looking at, Donna?
I really don't know. Right now it's temporary, like I said, till we can get a building put at our place.
Well, like Christmas now, we need,
Yeah.
most
See,
all
those
the
rooms down there
we-
have stuff in them.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
things in a lot of the rooms that
Okay.
set up
We have-
things
It
in
was
there.
just a thought.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then at Christmas, we use.
on the
a lot of-
holiday, Christmas time, they'll open all the rooms
All
up
the
for
rooms.
people
well,
to
I
go
would
in and
hope
sit down to eat.
that we would be out of there by then.
You almost have to take it out of them, because we need all the space. at
Yeah, they
Christmas.
do, they have it
Yeah.
down there. But,
I mean, if you need a time limit, I'd say maybe 6 months, but I'd definitely be out of there by the fall.
Right.
But that's
I don't know what
that's all up
Brian
to
has.
whoever.
Yeah,
I don't know what Vi has scheduled or anything down there.
Yeah.
Terry, do you know?
See, we just shut it down, completely January, February, March,
Yeah.
and then they put it back up. And now 2 of the rooms completely they lock them because they're filled. They're filled with stuff. There's farm show stuff
Yeah.
in it. And
Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine. I didn't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
there's nothing wrong with asking,
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's down in the school stuff. That's okay.
That's good. Your heart's in the right place, Donna.
I try to be.
It can happen to any of us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not nice.
John Klepser.
No.
Nothing tonight. You're an easy crowd. Billy Mustin.
We're here to see where we're at for the subdivision, that property where I'm giving him an acre of ground to build a house. After sanitary was out in October, and checked everything out, and everything was okay.
When does this start? When did you apply?
I just got this, the day after the meeting in January. So,
Are we still waiting for?
everything should be here, just Brad has to look at it and you guys can okay it if everything's in line.
Okay. Hear that, Bill?
Okay.
Brad will look at it tonight. If everything's in line, we'll vote on it, and that should be your answer. All right.
Amelia?
Amelia?
Same thing.
Okay.
Steve, let's wait till we finish,
Okay. You wanna do that now?
if Brad has time to look at it that way.
Okay.
We're not going back and.
Yeah.
rehunting
We don't
for
have to
that.
rehash it, so.
I'm looking at it right now.
All right.
This looks like a simple one cut, right? Yeah, you just have one residual tract. You've got access to the main road from both pieces, frontage right there. You just went through the septic planning part of it, which Dean Shore apparently is approved because he signed it from what I can see. On the one that you're creating, there's an existing well there too, is that right? Okay. And then there's a trailer that's there. It says tank. Is that just like a propane tank or?
Beside the trailer?
Yeah.
Yeah, just propane.
Okay. Truthfully, guys, I don't see.
Everything look in order, Brad?
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna come, any issue is, where's the driveway come in at?
Would be right in front of the trailer.
Okay, so you just get approval from the township to put the driveway in there. It's
It's
already
already
there.
there.
I was wondering, would it be possible to have the driveway up a little bit? Bobby, you might know where we have the dumpster sitting right now, just a little bit below it. We want to build a house, and that's where we'd put the driveway. We didn't know if we'd have to get a special permit for that or not.
The concern typically is there any sight distance problem if they move or?
What could be. I don't, it's, where we're at now.
Because before you make a final decision, if you have a concern, what I'd recommend you do is send your engineer out to double check that. The road that you guys come out onto is a township road rather than the state road, is that right?
George Spinelli can do it.
Okay,
Him
so,
and
okay, so
We
George,
can take care of that.
yeah, you guys
Site distance.
look at it and make sure that George doesn't view it as a problem. That's the only thing I see. You know what I mean?
It's very easy to do.
You just won't want it to have an accident pulling out your driveway, you know what I mean? I didn't see anything, don't see anything out of the way by this point.
What do you need a motion to accept that?
Yeah, if you guys are gonna accept it, then
I'll make the motion to accept it. Sarah lost me.
Providing.
The way it's,
Look at that,
yeah,
right?
the way Brad.
You
Yeah,
have
he's-
Spinelli come out and
Made a
follow.
motion, providing George Spinelli okays the.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
Right.
yeah.
the way you.
Okay, motion's on the floor. According as Spinelli would come out and accompany you to look at the proposed area for an additional driveway.
Yes.
That motion's been made. How do you vote, Bob?
I need a
Yes.
second.
You want to
I need
second
a
it?
second first.
Bob will second.
Yes.
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 We need to get these all signed then, Steve,
Okay,
so we can do that
you
here.
wanna do that now?
I don't care, we can seal and stamp them.
Let's just do that and it's done.
Just put the garage on there.
Hey, Carrie, put your name on there. Sitting back there, you didn't get a chance to sign that. We might as well just go ahead and sign them and it's done.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Number one, Steve.
Thank you.
We need you to sign both my name on that one.
I'll tell you what. Not fun.
There's just ain't enough paper. There's not enough paperwork.
Something else, Kathy?
Oh, you got 4 or 5 more here tonight.
I have a question. What if they don't agree to the change? What happens to the paperwork? And I mean,
It's subject to it being approved in terms of the change of the driveway.
so you're not gonna give it all?
It'll be approved when Spinelli says the driveway location is okay.
And if he
If
says
he
it isn't,
says no, then we can just
You
use
gotta
our
use the
existing
same one.
driveway.
Yeah, you'd have to just have to come back and
Oh,
use the same
that's
driveway.
fine then.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yep.
you'd use the existing.
Okay.
There's another one here, Steve.
Okay.
You have 2 places to sign, Steve, on the back of this one page and then the map.
Great.
bet you wish you had just now, don't you?
I wish I was right then with that.
Give them a better tree, this one.
And the,
There you go.
The map and back of that one page needs signed. Did you sign the map? There's another one. There's 2 more here, yeah.
Hey, we're having fun now.
I'll go stand up.
Yeah. Is that it, Kathy?
That's it.
Boy,
Enough.
there you go.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, I'm gonna give this back to the Musselmans. Once they have it recorded, whatever, there's one more person that sign off this subdivision, the courthouse or whatever, when that's recorded. Then there's a label on top that says township copy. I need that copy back. Okay?
That takes care of you, right? William?
I'm good to go.
Okay, Tim Burkett.
Pretty much the same thing. I had some ground surveyed off from a boy. A surveyor sent me papers, told me to come to the township meeting and have them review it. Also includes like the sewage, you know, and the land development review application. If you guys want to check it over, there's land maps here, what was surveyed off the farm, and I gotta go step 1, step 2, step 3, or whatever. So that's why I'm here tonight. You want to check that out? Yeah.
Cold.
She went to Florida to be warm in the boat.
Should have put this out.
We were putting it on the other hand.
You might as well stay at home. You can stay here and scrape your windshield.
No, I'd had my car in the garage, I had to scrape the windshield. Deborah said, you want to know when you come home. I didn't want one. I went to Florida, so I went to Florida. I was sending her pictures all day today of the snow.
We got what, about 6 inches?
We had 8 of them.
Did you? I measured about 6.
Tim, can you tell us, what is this green, you got this little green
The house.
rectangle?
That's the house.
That's the house, okay. Is that where you live at?
No, my board.
Okay,
And then there's a 30-foot right-of-way between the two parcels.
okay,
And then the field below it.
okay.
That's the farmhouse right here, Tim, right?
Mhm. There's a, as far as the driveway, that's the driveway, but there's 30-foot right-of-way for me to get to the farm.
Oh, I, way had it marked off coming through there. It's not breaking it up into 2 pieces, it's one piece, but the right of way goes over a portion of it.
Right.
Okay. Is there an existing entrance right off of the state road now?
Yes.
Where the right of way, and
Yes.
that's probably been there for years,
Yes.
is that right? Okay. And the existing house obviously has functioning sewer and that sort of thing?
Yes.
Okay.
But there's a sewage planning
Yeah.
that facility has to go through now since January 1st. There's I think, did that come through? Bedford Planning Commission and sewage planning, there's papers in there that
Because he
also
has,
gets involved here after the first year. So, I don't know.
He has a note concerning lot 1, which this is, but he says that, you know, lot 1 has not been approved by the township or the DEP for building purposes or for installation of sewage disposal facilities.
It's already
It's
existing.
already there, yeah. The only thing I see is there needs to be because you have a right-of-way preserved for your farm, there needs to be a note on here. Essentially, the way we treat that is it's a private road, okay? And generally, under the ordinance, there needs to be a note that says that that is not gonna be taken over by the township, it's gonna remain private and all this
It
kind of
never will be.
things. So what the ordinance requires is that there just be, just like you got these other paragraphs here, that there be a paragraph put in there so that once it's recorded and you sign a developer's agreement to that effect, that we don't have to worry. When you don't have that note and there's a private road, then you can get into issues like we've had to encounter litigation in this township before.
So who does the note, the lawyer?
I have it already, the language. Oh, Alan Deal, I've worked with him many times. He may already have the note language that we've used because it's the same in a bunch of different townships that I represent. So it comes right out of the ordinance itself, but if he doesn't have it already, which I think Alan does, I can easily email it to Alan.
Okay.
That's the only thing I personally see with this plan, guys. I've one on there. And once you got that on there and he signed the developer's agreement, I don't see that there's any other problem with what he submitted to you. It has to go on to the planning commission, obviously, for review now since January 1. He's given you multiple copies.
So for the
But
planning
do you
commission.
want that note on there before it goes to the planning commission?
It really should be on there.
Okay, so do you want them to make a motion, they approve it upon him getting the
That
note
note
on and the
being
planning
added.
commission passing it?
Yeah.
That way, if he gets it to me, we get it to the planning commission, and if it's in a week or two, they can sign it, Tim. If it's, I'll just call them to the office and they'll sign it if they already have it pre-approved. Is that okay, Brad?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. If they see something, then
No, will you get it to Alan Deal and have that note put on there?
we'll let you do that, so it'll be your responsibility as property owner.
Okay.
But if you tell Alan you spoke to me, this Brad Allison here at the meeting, then he can either call my office, because he's just down the street from me, or, stop by and we'll give him the information if he doesn't already have it.
Okay.
I know he's put that note on a bunch of plans, Tim, okay, like Bedford Township and other places, so he should have it. And then I'll prepare the developer's agreement that requires that, if you'd ever sell off more of the farm, if you will, then
Not gonna happen in my
well,
lifetime.
that might not in your lifetime. But after you, if somebody would sell it off, they've gotta have this part of the deeds that go out to other people and the agreements of sale and all of that, that's all, okay?
What'd you call that, Brad?
It's a developer's agreement, so,
Write that down, what I gotta tell Alan
yeah,
too.
yeah, we can get you fixed up.
We need a motion for this.
You need a motion on the floor that when that language is added to the plans,
The developer's agreement is signed,
developer's agreement is
and
signed.
the planning commission approval is given, then I'd recommend that you approve the plan.
No, I take that into the sewage.
What'll happen,
I got that.
I think
I'll
the
read
There's a
sewage,
paper on the
Yeah.
back, side that there's no, that's not single papers
here, yeah,
on the back,
yeah,
but they have to visually check the sewage.
yeah.
So do I take care of that, or?
We would, here, it's a request for planning waiver and non-building declaration, okay? But according to what Alan is telling you, after the first of this year, they're gonna wanna check the functioning
Right.
system on site, right?
Right.
So your approval would be subject to having the SEO also sign off on that, yes. We ought to submit that on to the SEO.
I can get it to Dean, that's no problem.
Yeah, I think that that's the proper way rather than making Tim
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah,
Cause we gotta make sure that Dean's fine with it before we can give him
Yeah.
the signed map, you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
yeah. And
So-
if you get the paperwork after that's done, the notes on, you get it to me. I'll get it into you. Can you get it, then take care of from there?
Yeah,
The note on just the right of way. Okay.
yeah,
It needs to say the right of way not being taken over by the township. And he
Right.
should know that.
yeah.
That guy should know that.
You take these forms for Tim.
Yeah,
That-
I'll
those
take
go to
them.
Dean, and
These won't
go
get into
back
bed
to
for
Tim
till
to get
Monday,
to
but
Alan.
they'll get into bed for Monday.
Yeah,
My daughter works
He
with
may
me, so she's
want
fine.
these back or submit me new ones.
yes. There's two ways he can do it. He can either print you new ones with the note on, or he can have a sticker made, okay?
And just stick it right
And
on there.
affix
We've
it
done
on.
that.
Either way is fine, truthfully, okay?
Then I just bring it back and give it to her.
Yeah,
Yep, and then I'll get him into Brad that he can get him to the planning commission. Okay,
Yeah.
Brad?
yep, that's right.
Okay.
Okay,
So we need a motion on that.
Okay, I'll make that motion to that, driveway and stuff that you gotta get added and stuff. Whatever you said about that.
I'll second it.
You need the note, and then it has to pass the planning commission,
Right,
and you need a developer's agreement on it,
and the SEO approval.
SEO approval.
Yep.
Okay,
And you
so we have a
people-
motion on
You
that.
will handle that after I get this taken care of from Alan.
This will go into the SEO Monday,
Okay,
okay? And when you get that to me, that'll go into Brad.
okay.
And then when we get it back, these guys I can call together and they can sign off for you.
Sign
We don't
off,
have to
yeah.
wait till next meeting if it's done ahead of time. Okay? I have a
Okay.
motion on the floor.
Motion's on the floor, it's been seconded
Who's
by
that?
me. How do you vote, Bob?
Yes.
Yes. Unanimous.
Okay, we got it.
Okay, that takes care of Tim. Brad Allison.
Okay. I have the Smith Claycomb Community On-Lot Sewage Disposal System Operation and Maintenance Agreement. They had already signed. You guys need to sign now. Really, on the holding tank, pumping and maintenance agreement, they had already filled in the rate for the pumper, which was $165 per pumping, but we need to have the owner post a bond. And you've got a rate schedule here that should say a figure consistent with the amount of gallons per day, which is 400 gallons per day for a single family residence. Then there should be a certain bond that you charge anybody who's similarly situated in the township. So you need to insert that number into paragraph 13, and then, you know, Township of Kimmel, I'll put into 14 for you here. And then I think you guys can sign that, okay? So-
Brad, they already was familiar and had seen some of the language in the agreement.
Yes,
They knew that they, at a later date, they were going to have to comply with
bond,
a bond, if you will.
okay, good.
They knew, are you saying that they knew?
Well, it's
When-
right in the document that they
Okay.
signed.
Okay,
So we just have to insert the figure.
Okay.
We have to insert the amount.
Yeah, what typically happens is the township sets by resolution the rate schedule for the bond. So, and the reason why you do that is so that nobody can claim, well, so-and-so is only charged $100 and you're
Yeah.
charging me $2,000.
Yeah.
I mean, it's equal protection under the law. So
Yeah.
you guys enact a rate schedule, which has been done in the township, and then that figure consistent with the amount of gallons that they're gonna
Okay.
put into that system a day is what you charge. Because if you don't have it, and then they fail to pay,
okay,
you gotta go after the bond to pay
yeah,
to have it, because it's ultimately the township's responsibility if they fail to abide by
after
it.
that point,
Yeah. So,
okay,
yeah, subject to them, you know, I would approve it subject to them providing you with the bond. Typically, that's in a bank certified check, and you'll keep it
Yep.
in the account and draw interest, you know, on
I've
it
set up
as
an account
required
like I
by
did
law.
with
that'll
Slope and
that'll be
Dively.
set up in an escrow for them.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep, that's how it's done,
because I have two already on.
okay?
Now, do you need another motion on the
Just-
floor?
Just a motion to approve it subject to receiving the appropriate bond.
Okay. I'll make that motion, once we receive that specific bond to cover that.
I'll second it.
How do you vote, Bob?
Yes.
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 I just have a couple, executive session matters for pending litigation and contractual negotiation I need to discuss with you.
Okay, this was the copy I gave you, right, Steve, or Brad?
Yes.
Okay, I don't want it to get in with the original, so I'm gonna give away with that copy.
Okay.
All right.
That's basically it for me at the present time, unless you have something else.
No, we have this thing, but we need to get a engineer first.
Okay, okay. Yeah, that's the Allison plan.
Yep.
It's not my plan, obviously, it's another Allison.
Yeah.
Marty, morning.
Hi.
How you doing today?
Good. I have about a half-hour presentation. Is that all right?
Go ahead.
I guess last month at your reorganization, I'm Marty Malone with Lehman Engineers. We've represented the township now for 30-some years, almost as long as we've represented Bedford County, which I think it's been about 42 years now. At your reorganization meeting, one of our employees was down here, Vince Dodson, and he was a retired PennDOT guy. And I guess he had let me know the next day that the township didn't elect to retain us as the engineer. We postponed it till February. So I just wanted to make sure I came down for your February meeting. If you had any questions, if there was an issue or whatever, I'd like to know so I could address it, because we sure would like to keep you guys as a client.
I got a question, Marty. I think Kathy said earlier that the price list or something.
Yeah, I had called, I don't know if I talked to you, Marty, but I talked to somebody, and they shipped me I told them I needed a list of fees. They just had on there like accountant one or a secretary. They didn't, to me it didn't make a whole lot of sense of how do we distinguish what the job's gonna cost? You understand what I'm saying?
Depends on what the job is. It depends on what the job is. And if you're trying to compare apples to apples, which it sounds like you're trying to do, one thing you might want to keep in mind is if we have an engineer 4 working on a review of a project, and I looked over the last 2 years what we charged Kimmel Township, and I think the total billing for the last 2 years was $430.
It wasn't a whole lot, no.
We never charged you guys for any of that work that we did on the township's behalf with PennDOT when you guys abandoned that bridge up there. And I think that part of that bridge was... What's that?
I'd surely hope not.
No, we never charged you to come to your meetings or anything. In fact, we helped the township line up the funding for that bridge project. And that's what I do for the township, and we never charged you anything, Bob. I mean, the proof's in the pudding. Over the last 2 years, we charged you $400. And those were probably review fees that you passed on to the developer. So to answer your question, it depends on who's doing what.
Okay.
I mean, if you want lower engineers doing the work, they don't make as much.
Yeah. I thought it would say like review of a plan was so much, and but it didn't. Maybe I'm not. I know I don't understand engineering.
I think the direct answer to that is it depends on how complicated the plan is. If it takes an hour, maybe it'd be $70. If it takes 3 days, maybe it'd be $700. I don't know.
I understand that.
It depends on how complex the plan and how many hours. Because we bill on an hourly basis when we do bill. And we haven't billed the township for most of the work we've done. In fact, since I've been with Lehman Engineers, which has probably been 17 years, I don't know that we've billed you guys for hardly anything. And and I'm available to come to your meetings every month if you want us to, at no charge. When you talked about site distance on the driveway, we're your engineer. We do it for you. We wouldn't charge you for it. I mean, that's what having a relationship with an engineer for the last 30 years gets you. But I mean, if you don't want us, it's up to you guys. I mean,
well, I've been in 24 years, and I know Lehman Engineers ever since I've been in, and they always treated us right. And that's my view of it.
So if there's something specific that you guys had in mind or brought up, Bob, was there something specific?
Well, I just seen, and the commissioners agreed with me, how you solid them on that job you did over there. And I figured if you charged us, and I know a couple jobs, like up there in that pipe job up there years ago. That was way too much money. I have different things that I talked about with other townships and their engineers, and I got one in mind right now that's I think it's gonna do us right. I already talked to them.
Well, that's good. You gotta be comfortable with who your engineer is. And since you brought that project up, I will tell you that I worked with the county in securing the federal and state funds for that project. Never charged them a dime. We don't set the cost of the project. That cost was set by PennDOT. PennDOT allows us to charge so many hours. They put the bid out for construction. It's low bid for construction. So I'm not sure what you heard or where you heard it, but I know what happened because I was there. And I'm the one that lined the funding up for them. But, and I'm willing to do that for the township, and we never charge you anything to do it. But if you think you can get a better deal somewhere else, that's up to you guys.
So we gotta vote on that now, as engineer?
I will here. Well,
I'll make a motion right now that we keep Raymond engineer. I mean, that's up to you, the other two supervisors. Because they treated us fair and square as long as I've been here, and I've been here 24 years. What do you think, Steve? You're a new supervisor. You gotta stand on your own 2 feet.
I know. I have somebody in mind that I had in mind.
Well, I made the motion. I mean,
Motion's on the floor to keep Landon Industries, engineers. How do you vote, Bob?
You don't have a second.
Does anybody, we need a second on the floor.
If we declare it dead. If you don't second it.
I would like to have a chance to try this Keller's, is who I had in mind.
Let me help you. Let me make it easier for you. Take Keller's. Take them. If there's anything we can ever do for you, we're right up the road.
We have to do this every year, is that correct?
You select for your professionals at the beginning of the year.
Yes.
organization meeting.
Yes.
And, you know, we have designated municipalities, Duncansville Borough, we're the bridge engineer, Norrie, we're the bridge engineer. And they use other consultants, other engineers. It's not a contractual agreement, it's a gentle person's agreement, a gentleman's agreement. But if you want somebody else, I mean, we don't want to work for you if you don't want us to work for you. But if you ever have a project and you need some grantsmanship, I'm always up the road. We've enjoyed a healthy relationship with the township for 30 years, and I wish you well.
Okay.
Yeah, wish you well. It's a pleasure meeting with you.
Appreciate you coming
Yeah,
out
it's my
tonight.
pleasure. Yes.
All right.
Okay, how do we do that, Brad? We have no seconds, so the motion's dead.
Motion dead.
Motion's dead on the floor,
You
for
still,
lack of a second.
you still need an engineer. I'm not in the business of reviewing these major subdivision plans.
Okay, let's pick one right now. I don't know, if you guys have something in mind, speak your piece right now.
I'll make a motion, we pick up Keller Engineers as our engineer firm
I'll
for
second.
the township.
I'll second.
How do you vote, Bob?
Yes.
Yes. Les?
No.
Okay. Our engineer will be Keller's. Okay.
Okay, you guys have information on them?
Right there.
I'll get that plan to them.
Give that to us. All right. Next on the list, Carrie Langham.
I only come because you told me to come.
I'm glad you came.
And my meeting was at 5:30.
We just wanted to see a new face.
Oh, okay. They just told me to come to a meeting at 5:30.
Yeah.
Okay, why am I here? To get my check?
Do you wanna discuss that now?
Do you want to do that now or talk about that in executive session, or you want to just clear the air with it now? Our last meeting, Brad, a motion was on the floor to bring the community money into the townships, if you will, another treasury,
Yes,
covered by bond.
yes.
I'm not entirely on top of everything as far as proper channels, what protects organizations, whether it be nonprofit organizations. There would be a large benefit, though, by them joining our township, if you will, if I can use that language. Kathy's bond would protect them. Am I correct?
Well, as I recall this circumstance, I was at the meeting, Carrie can tell you.
Last year?
Yeah, it was either
There for,
2 years ago.
2
wasn't
years
it?
ago.
Sure it was. And we were over at the Queen Community Building at that time.
Yeah.
And years ago, apparently, as I understand it, the township had designated the folks over there to take care of activities that were held on the grounds and or at the building. Correct, Carrie?
And in it, they said they signed it over to us to take care of it and take care of all expenses and pay all bills.
Okay. So over the course of time, they have done that. And then there's been some concern that the township wanted to have further oversight over that, okay? So as the township's designee, they can continue in it provided it's with your blessing, although it's subject to audit because it's part of the township funds.
They do audit it.
Yes, so that if the township supervisors decide, well, you really want to take care of that now, you have that right. Why? Because it's township property, all right? You can make a designation or you can bring it back into the township, okay? So you guys have to decide which way you want to handle it. Do you want to have the association be designated, or do you want to assume the duties once again yourselves? I can't make the call for you. I can just tell you what the law says.
Irregardless, it would be covered under her bond, would it?
Well, when you say it would be covered under her bond, when Kathy's doing things, it's covered under Kathy's bond. All
But
right?
somebody else isn't.
They very well may not be. Okay, now, you will have insurance that would apply if somebody got injured. So the answer
Yeah.
would be that, yes, the township insurance may likely cover that, okay? But in terms of if there's a bond for her holding monies or what have you, I'm not going to say that the carrier is going to say that that in fact is going to cover it if somebody else does it. All right, it depends upon the terms and conditions of the bond that's
Okay.
issued. So without reading that, I don't want to go too far and say yes or no, because it depends upon that. It could, but it may not. All depends on how it reads. And
Yeah.
carriers are notorious for having exclusions on when they will not pay. Okay? So without seeing it, I can't really say yes or no.
I was under the assumption, we had this conversation 2 years ago down at school.
Yeah, we did.
I thought it was going to be taken care of then. Maybe I misunderstood everything.
Well, the way I recall it, while we were there, they were going to have them get information together, bring it back to the township for review, and then further consideration.
Yeah.
Now, if any more specific action was taken, we'd have to look at the minutes because I can't remember.
Yeah.
But I was there. I think Carrie remembers. I was
Yeah.
there, and I acted essentially as the mediator on the township's behalf on this issue. The big issue became wanting to make sure, I thought was a scheduling thing, You know, they had scheduling things, and then there was a concern that if the township scheduled, we'd have overlap.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't be fair to the people.
No.
Okay? And in turn, you had some concern that there were times of the year when it wasn't being heated, okay? And so it may not be available for rent or lease. But ultimately, because it's township property, the township has the right to say how it's going to be leased out and those sorts of things. If you designate the association to take over those duties, then that's one thing. If you want the township to do it now, then you need to get an accounting of whatever other monies they're handling, and it comes back and the township has to take it over. So it's, you know, how many responsibilities do you want? You have the ultimate responsibility, but now you may get some of the extra work that comes with it. And it's probably not any more complicated than that. Am I misstating the nature of what was discussed, Gary? I don't think so.
At that time, what happened was, I remember Francie Hart had passed away, and
Yeah.
someone had called Kathy to rent it. And the building was already rented out at the time. And at the time, the family called me, we let them use our church, which we was glad to do it for them, and they had the church, and it was very grateful. Francie's related to me and everything. And there was no hard feelings over it. Even the lady that, the doctor out here, she supplied everything. There was no hard feelings over it. She said, I understand it.
I think at that point, Carrie, when they called me, I told them they had to check with Vi.
But,
And I think they took it on their own, saying they had it before
Yeah.
they checked with her.
No, yeah, and that's where the problem came in. It was already rented it out, but that meant we talked about the night that you was there.
Yeah.
And the other thing was, someone wanted the building for a dance thing over there, and you said, well, if they wanted, they had to have $1 million liability policy,
Yeah, an event policy.
Yep.
Yep, that's right.
and they fell through.
Yeah.
Here's the EIN number Viola just had down there.
So-
Give it to them. They was concerned about the number, so.
It's like you said, how much do they want to get into here? I know if it comes down to, I know Vi rents the rooms out. She goes and scrubs the floors, opens it up, turns the heat on, and does other work. If they want that, I mean, it's all well and good. I mean,
Clean
she'll.
up afterwards and everything.
Yeah, really, it's just you guys need to.
It's a, yeah.
You either, there's two ways to approach it. One is you either sit down with them and see if there's any remaining issues, then you work it out with them and you continue with them helping you. If not, then you take it back and then we'll draft the lease and, you know, for you, for events and so forth. I mean, the reason why you want people to have insurance, and sometimes it's prohibitive, right? They're not gonna spend the money to hold an event over there like if it's a birthday party. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
But the reason why we do that is if somebody falls over there, then they'll come back on the township's insurance. I'd like to tell you differently. I know in fact that that's what will happen.
Yeah.
You know, and as an attorney who's sued municipalities that I don't represent, I know that those things unfortunately happen.
If it's available, it will be
Yeah,
used.
that's right. So the best way you can, you know, keep yourself in good graces is make sure that whoever you designate is doing the job that you want to see done, and or do it yourself.
And do it properly.
That's right. There's no other way to get around it.
Anything else, Bobby?
They wanted this EIN number. I was here last time. They said they wanted it because they wasn't sure the money was in the bank was insured. Well, the bank insures the money.
Up to $250,000 per
Well, we only got $10,000. I'm sure they was insured for that.
Yeah.
And but they kept saying this EI number they had to have it because that way they were sure that the money was insured at the bank.
Well, an EIN number is an employer ID
Yes.
number. Okay. So whether you have an EIN number or whether you don't have an EIN number does not determine whether an account is federally insured. Okay, like for instance, you know, my wife and I put, you know, $5,000 in a CD, right? we don't have an EIN number. We have social security numbers, but not EIN numbers. So those accounts would typically still be within FDIC insurance unless the bank is under some sort of a sanction and is not authorized to have that. You know, and if they, any bank that doesn't have that, you got to wonder, where do you want to put your money in there, okay? But you're right. I don't know that an EIN number designates the fact that they're set up as an association. Now, I don't know how that association was set up years ago.
I got all the paperwork.
Okay, and I don't know if it's a full nonprofit corp or whatever it is.
Well, they said, Vernon Coral and me, we was the two guys that went after, and Jimmy Garner helped us, he come here and told us about it. And it was set up, we got a committee, I got a book and read it, and I didn't know how to do it, and we got a committee to run it, Terry, Guy, and whoever else was. And it's a nonprofit organization, and if it ever, right on the paper in there, on the deeds, if the township, if it puts a burden onto the township, then you have to offer it back to the school district for $1. Is that right, Terry?
Yes.
That's the property. That's got a reservation in it that if it ever goes beyond being used for a public purpose, then it reverts back to the school district.
If it puts a burden like onto the township.
Yeah, yeah, that's required by the public school code to be in that deed. Well, supervisors have to decide what you want to do. I mean, I don't vote, so.
All these years, we never had any trouble down there, and I can't see why all at once that we have this trouble when we don't have any. I can't believe it. I mean, that's my opinion. And there's nobody that you're gonna get to do more than Terry and Vi, as far as renting the rooms, cleaning up, opening the doors, checking everything. And I know Tim lives right across the road and he sees her there a lot, don't you, Tim?
Yep.
I mean, you gotta have somebody in charge. I mean, it ain't gonna work. It's just that simple. I mean, I don't know what the trouble is all at once, that they think it ain't run right, or it ain't money problem, or what, I don't know. Steve, you and Bob, you express yourself here now.
What did Bob Musselman find out about the roof? You was gonna have him come look at
Okay,
it.
he got up on it, he fixed it, and it never leaked since.
Bub or Bob Musselman?
Bob Musselman.
What was their bill? Was there a
Nothing.
bill?
He didn't charge us nothing. We fixed the door down there that you was gonna come and fix. Me and Corey went down and fixed it.
No, I knew it was bad
Yeah.
whenever I took my brother in a wheelchair.
Yeah. I mean, you could get a hold and jerk it open.
And
Okay, let's move on. Let's
Okay.
table this.
I mean, I don't know,
I
I
have
mean,
a question that sort of pertains to that I asked Brad. As an auditor, like when we do the township audit here, any paperwork, like if a receipt that we would need, you know, as we're going through, we say to Kathy, like, what's this for Keith's, trucking or something like that. She can pull up a receipt. Now, when we audit the association down there, shouldn't there be receipts also for
purchases?
Yes, there should be. It should be, because ultimately it's municipality money, right? So there has to be a system of checks and balances of where you can show that expenditures were made or monies were received, right? I mean, it's like having QuickBooks. There's got to be a paper trail to back what goes out, and should be one to show what comes in. The purpose of that, and no one's saying that there's any money leaving hands improperly. A lot of times is, in smaller areas in particular, people don't do the extra steps because we're not, you know, in Philadelphia, right? But the reason why you have those systems in place is to avoid fraud. And unfortunately, in the last 5 or 6 years, particularly when the economy got bad, I have seen more fraud in municipal endeavors than I can shake a stick at. I mean, I never had any problem until the recession really hit. And at that point in time, people were pilfering from the accounts. Now, I'm not saying that that's even a remote possibility here, okay? But that's why you have the paperwork, to avoid a potential for that. That's all.
And I agree too, that what Brad said. She gives you a report every month, don't she? And on the back of that
No.
report,
No.
you don't get a report from her every month?
Every 3
No.
months.
It should be every month,
Exactly.
every month.
I
And on the back of it,
Little
she,
things that's making this like this, why can't we talk about it and correct
and
it?
she should have on the back of that a copy of every receipt that
Should
she
have.
wrote a check out for. If it's to buy toilet paper, she should be listed on. It's only protection for her,
Oh,
her
definitely.
too. Right?
Yeah.
I agree. And if she makes a deposit, she can make a copy of the deposit slip and put it on, and hand it to us, and you'd have it. And at the end of the year, you'd have every month right there.
That's
It's already
Make
done.
the
and
job
look at-
easier.
Yep.
It would be better for everybody,
Yep.
all the way around. We've talked along these lines
I don't like to
before,
go
but
to
that's
jail.
all the further it went. Yeah, we've discussed these items before.
No,
but
I
it just
agree
didn't go any
100%.
further.
Because if you look around, there's so many things done today where people, how should you say, got their hand in the till. So I say, and if I
Just
talk,
so we're all protected.
Were are you and Bob satisfied then, if, like Terry said there, that she gives it in every month?
I didn't know she was. I thought it was every month she was giving it to
I
you.
She was
thought-
supposed to.
She, in December,
It was
I
called.
got, September, October,
Yeah,
November,
she was
December.
doing it 3
But
months.
there's no copies of receipts on the back of the
Okay.
papers, Carrie.
No
You just have
receipts.
to start doing it.
Yep.
Even in like the month of January, February, March, when it's closed, I'm sure she's still getting a light bill or something.
Yep.
Yeah,
So,
that's no problem,
it's-
she could do that, don't you think, Terry?
Yeah, and that's what I thought. That's what it was being done. I really did.
I did too, I didn't
Yeah.
really know. So,
But if there's anything else you want to bring up about it, why, feel free to do it.
is that,
You didn't sign this sheet, Roger.
You can give it to me.
Well, I would
You write it
advise
up.
Come
that
on.
in
Jay,
terms
sign,
of,
you're there.
why don't you send her a letter,
I
send
didn't
the
even hear you come in,
association,
Roger.
and by a letter that asks and requires that each month you need to have the receipts and expenditures with paper proof sent to you
Yep.
for purposes of auditing.
Yeah. Even, like I said, I saw one paper where she has here, I have a copy of it, and I saw she didn't have, even if she makes a deposit, it should be wrote down there, she made a deposit, if she wants it, she gets it part of a slip back, probably make a copy of it, just put it in the back.
I know I brought the last one, it was like 3 months, I gave it to
Yeah,
Kathy.
but
Yeah.
but like I said,
Yeah.
it was just the front, there was nothing attached to the back, like, you you guys
No
were asking
receipts.
for,
Yeah,
there
are
was
you
nothing.
satisfied then?
So why don't you guys make a motion, if we're gonna send via letter, requesting a copy of receipts and deposit tickets,
Yeah, it's
Month by
monthly,
month.
monthly?
monthly.
Monthly, yeah,
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. I mean, that puts everybody in the,
It will make everybody feel more comfortable.
and it doesn't take that much more.
No. It protects everyone.
Yes,
Bobby?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'll get a letter wrote up, I'll email it to you, Brad, to check
Okay.
it, and then you get it back, and then I'll
That's fine.
get it to Carrie, okay?
Hey, we can, that'll take care of everything, okay,
Sounds
Karen?
great to me.
Yep. I know you, hey, I was over at your house, I have it on a piece of tablet in there. I backed in, shut the car off, got out, slammed the door shut, nothing. I thought, what the heck's going on? I slammed the door again hard, nothing. I coughed, the dog behind the house started barking, you couldn't hardly hear it. But the ones over behind the trailer and them big pimps, some kind of
Two of 'em.
spotted,
Yeah,
they squeal high pitch.
all day long.
But they didn't do it when I slammed the door, but when I coughed,
Well,
then it
UPS
started.
truck goes through, they bark, school bus,
It's not a bark, it's a squeal.
yeah.
High pitch, there's two
Somebody
of them.
pulls in down in their driveway, then 4 or 5 other stuff.
But I wanted to tell you, I was over there and they did do that.
Well, I hear that all the time,
Yeah.
24 hours a day.
Do you need a motion to accept the minutes and the bills?
Okay, never come to that next, Kathy.
Okay.
Okay, I need a motion to accept the minutes. Is there any corrections that needs to be done? What I looked at, looked in order.
I don't know, I'll make a motion to accept it.
Okay, I'll second that.
How you voting?
How we vote?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I guess under the, was that old business, we spoke about the engineers?
Yeah,
We're
we
gonna go with
already
Keller?
did that.
Okay. Is there anything else under old business?
Still need an alternate.
No.
Yeah, there's no alternate, but
You have some correspondence, Kathy? And then,
I have some stuff for you guys, yeah.
okay.
I need Brad to look at this. I have no idea. A request for records, but I don't know who it's from or, you know, if it's okay, I'll get it down to him, but. This from you? This from you?
No, I just saw it there, I thought maybe it was hidden and you missed it.
I
Okay.
have no idea what it is.
There's a place for that.
PA local
It's on your
government
desk
training.
there.
Senior centers.
Hmm?
Now just one of the supervisors, they can look at it and.
I'm gonna have to look at the exceptions to what you're allowed.
That's what I thought, because I know you only have so many days, but I'm not sending paperwork out.
If they were asking solely about the addresses of the supervisors, probably you gotta turn that over.
Yeah,
Employees
But they're
sometimes
asking
are-
for
right,
more.
right. That's different.
can we make you a copy of that?
Yeah.
But I think that's what you was talking about with Tim. The planning commission, that is a covered one out.
But
This is this. Thank you.
conservatives are on.
I think that's just the
We
statement.
talked about the flu earlier.
Right.
It's not in the
And that's passed on to like the landowner.
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
There's a $30 fee on that one.
They cover these areas. You know, kids,
I don't know, I didn't look at it, Tim, I just know there's a
you
fee.
know, I like the candidate too, if
No,
somebody
I
has.
see all the
to
fee,
do
you can't even give your kid a piece of ground anymore. You pay the surveyor and get the road.
Just nothing simple about them.
Okay, so I'll run copies of this off, so when I send it to the land commission, it'll go in with Tim's paperwork.
Okay, I'll get a hold of Alan and
Okay.
get that other stuff back.
We help you out, Tim.
Hmm?
Can we help you out?
Great, yeah. What?
Try to make it as painless as possible.
That's all I have, guys. Oh, one other thing, I need a motion to update my QuickBooks program and my Norton virus on the laptop. That's probably gonna come in the neighborhood of like $300. The QuickBooks I use to do all the banking,
But you have to have it.
all your
There's no way
taxes,
around
all
it.
that stuff comes in through that. I do nothing, I just plug a number in and everything, so.
I'll make a motion you do.
I'll second. How do you vote last
Yeah.
year? Bobby?
Yes.
Yes.
Then that's it. That's all I have down.
What we have now, new business?
If there is anything,
Is there any
if
new
anybody else,
business?
their supervisors have any new business.
No. There's no new business, I have a motion on the floor to adjourn this meeting, but we'll go into an executive meeting.
Session prior to the adjourning for.
You're
pending-
adjourning the regular meeting to go to executive session.
Okay,
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. How do you vote, Bobby?
Yes.
Yes.